Your initial reaction, comments to Bill Belichick going to North Carolina, I'll give you an opportunity. Looking back on those comments, do you stand by what you said about Bill Belichick?
Yeah, I mean, well, now when I said it on the radio in Boston, I was laughing because knowing his personality and the way he treats people, and knowing what I think is the most important thing for college head coaches, that they're like polar opposites, right? So the key for college football coaches, head coaches, you're basically the CEO of a huge operation, and the two most important things you can do are to convince 17-year-olds and their parents that they should come play for you, and convince rich people that went to the school or are fans of the school to give you more money. That's the job, Dan. Like, that's the biggest part of the job. Belichick is definitely the best game planning schematic coach I was ever around. But you hear Brady's comments, Edelman's comments, you talk to anyone that's ever played, and I know people are going to reply in the comments, you only played 2 games for him, dude. Yeah, I know I only played 2 games. I was there for parts of 2 seasons. I know what he's like. I know his personality. It's 100% negative reinforcement. The first thing they do at 8 a.m. team meeting is show the 5 worst plays from the day before. No one I know or has spoken with him, Dan, can picture him being in a living room recruiting or talking to donors and trying to get money. Nobody can picture that. And maybe they can have success without that. Maybe he can hire some people that can do that part of it. I'll also say this, looking at the buyout, Dan, I firmly believe, and maybe I'll be wrong, and maybe we won't get a chance to see it. I firmly believe that as soon as he got an NFL opportunity or gets an NFL opportunity, I think he would leave the next day. I think he would leave the next day, even if I think the initial buyout's $10 million. If somebody decides in January that they want Belichick, I think he'd be gone. Certainly next year, if someone gets fired, I think he'd much, much rather be in the NFL.
Why is the buyout $1 million?
Because he wanted it that way.
And
North Carolina.
But the optics are terrible.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Guess what? He doesn't care about the optics, just like I don't really believe he cares that much. Like, it would be a bad look for him if the Jaguars offered him the job and in January he leaves UNC. I just don't think he cares that much. I think he'd say, listen, like, I'm sorry, but I have a better opportunity, or I want to take this. I don't think he would care that much about what that means for North Carolina. On some level, I feel like North Carolina, Dan, is getting already what they wanted out of this. Everybody's talking about them. They were able to reel in the big fish. They're getting relevancy. North Carolina is already getting a lot of publicity and a lot of branding out of this. I don't know. Obviously, they wouldn't be happy if he left. But, I mean, does anybody really think he'll be there for 3 to 5 years? I don't, unless no NFL team wants him. And maybe he'll stay because I'll give him credit for this. I never thought he would do this. He must really love coaching football. I personally thought he wanted to continue to coach in the NFL to break down Shula's record. The two huge positives about Bill: unbelievable schematically and game planning, and he clearly really, really loves it, because there's no other explanation for him to take this North Carolina job.